Preshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Utamas Loke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 20, the Dynasty of Puru, verse 37. Tam tyaktu kamam mamatam bhartus tyaga vishankitam nama nirvachanam tasya slokam enam surajago tam tyaktu kamam mamatam bhartus tyaga vishankitam nama nirvachanam tasya slokam enam surajago tam tyaktu kamam mamatam bhartus tyaga vishankitam nama viranchanam tasya slokam enam surajago tam tyaktu kamam mamatam nama nirvachanam tasya slokam enam surajago tam tyaktu kamam mamatam bhartus tyaga vishankitam nirvachanam tasya slokam enam surajago. Matajis. Tam tyaktu kamam mamatam bhartus tyaga vishankitam nama nirvachanam tasya slokam enam surajago. Word for word meaning? Tam, that newly born baby. Tyaktu kamam, who was trying to avoid. Mamatam, onto mamata. Bhartu tyaga vishankitam, very much afraid of being forsaken by her husband because of giving birth to an illegitimate son. Nama nirvachanam, a name-giving ceremony, or namakarana. Tasya, to the child. Slokam, verse. Enam, this. Suraha, the demigods. Jago, enunciated. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Mamta very much feared being forsaken by her husband for giving birth to an illegitimate son, and therefore she considered giving up the child. But then the demigod solved the problem by enunciating a name for the child. Purport. According to the Vedic scriptures, whenever a child is born, there are some ceremonies known as Jatakarma and Namakarana, in which learned Brahmanas, immediately after the birth of the child, make a horoscope according to astrological calculations. But the child to which Mamta gave birth was begotten by Brahaspati irreligiously. For although Mamta was the wife of Uttathiya, Brahaspati made her pregnant by force. Therefore, Brahaspati became Bharta. According to Vedic culture, a wife is considered the property of her husband, and the son born by illicit sex is called Dvaja. The common word still current in Hindu society for such a son is Dogla, which refers to the son not begotten by the husband of his mother. In such a situation, it is difficult to give the child a name according to proper regulative principles. Mamta, therefore, was perplexed, but the demigods gave the child the appropriate name, Bharadvaj, which indicated that the child born illegitimately should be maintained by both Mamta and Brahaspati. Om Agnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Caitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We'll read the translation again. Mamta very much feared being forsaken by her husband for giving birth to an illegitimate son, and therefore she considered giving up the child. But then the demigods solved the problem by enunciating a name for the child. So the demigods named the child. What was the name of the child given by demigods? We just read in the purport. If some Bharadvaj Rishi. So they gave the name to the child, Bharadvaj. So at the time of birth, there is this important samskara which is mentioned in the purport, Jatakarma and Namakarana. These are the two important samskaras which are performed. How many samskaras are there in total? Anyone knows? How many samskaras are there in the life of a person? 8 to 10? Yeah. Many are mentioned, but 16 are prominent. 16 samskaras are very important to be performed, of which, anyways, we'll go through that. But Jatakarma and Namakarana are the samskaras performed right after the birth of the child. And it was difficult for Mamta to give a name to the child. Why? Because she couldn't, because usually based on the father's gotra, the child's gotra is decided. And here the biological father was Brahaspati, but the Mamta's husband was Uttathiya. So she couldn't understand what should be the gotra of the child now. So demigod solved the problem by giving that name Bharadvaj, and then it was mentioned that Mamta and Brahaspati were to look after the child. So there are, the Vedas gives the importance of the samskaras. And they are not just, and we see today, none of the samskaras have been performed. Even in India, which is supposed to know, people even though if they are performing any of the samskaras, they don't understand the meaning behind it. They just do it for the name of performing it. Like one of the samskaras which everyone performs, even in today India, is Vivaha samskara. I mean, not everyone, there are some exceptions here, but most of the people, they go through the samskara. I have a friend who is very good at all the Vedas and samskaras and Narad Panchatraka Vidhi, and he knows all the verses. And so there was a marriage being performed, and there was this priest. These days, like the Brahmanas who perform these yagnas, they're very popular. They perform, like, especially during the season now is the season of marriage. Like they must be performing at least 5 or 6 marriages in a day. So they just have 1 hour gap to give to everyone, especially in cities like Bombay and Delhi. The travel time is more than the time Brahmana is there for the samskara. So he only has 1 hour or something. So he quickly performs. There is a quick marriage these days. They don't go through the entire, all the verses and that are meant to be performed, all the rituals that are meant to be done at the time of marriage. So he was quickly going through his, whatever he would remember, he did not even look. He was just performing all the Vedas. And this friend of mine who was also present at the ceremony, at the wedding, he said, this Brahmana is chanting all the mantras which are supposed to be chanted at the time of death, not at the time of marriage. Almost, it's the same thing, but anyways, it's different. The mantras are different. So this Brahmana was chanting those mantras which are supposed to be. So people don't, and the people who are sitting in the yagna, they also don't understand what the Brahmana is chanting. They are busy in their own thought process. So this is the condition of Kali Yuga. People don't perform the samskaras. And even those who perform, they don't understand why these samskaras are to be performed. And this is one of the dilemmas of Arjuna, why he did not want to fight. Anyone knows how many reasons he gave for not fighting? 5 reasons. What were they? Bhakti Sastri students. There was the 4th reason, which is the reason why we are here. Yeah, he said, first reason was compassion. He did not want to kill all the people. Then he gave the reason that if all of them with whom I enjoy, they are killed on the battlefield, then how will I enjoy? So there was loss of enjoyment. And then if I kill so many people, there will be sinful reactions for me, especially killing all the great generals and fathers and family members and brahmanas who were on the battlefield. So it'll create a lot of sinful reactions. And then the 4th reason he gave, if everyone is killed, it'll destroy the family traditions. All the seniors, all the men are killed. The family traditions will be destroyed. And what was the result of that? And the 5th reason was, he was indecisive. What is that verse that he mentions about indecision? Karpanya dosa prahata svabhava prachamitam dharma samudacheta yashayasyan nishchitam bruhitan me sishyastayam sadimam. So he's saying at the end that I don't know what is good for me. So Krishna, I'm surrendering to you, accepting you as my guru. And because of miserly weakness, I cannot understand. So I'm indecisive. So you guide me. And then Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita. So the reason, destruction of family tradition, what are the reasons he gives? He says that if all the elderly men and the great generals and brahmanas are killed on the battlefield, it will stop the family traditions. And if the family tradition is stopped, then irreligion will arise, increase. And when irreligion increases, what happens? Women are exploited. We see these days. Women are exploited. In the name of giving equal rights to women, they have been exploited. So women are exploited. And when women become polluted, what happens? We see Varna Sankara. The society, the progeny is Varna Sankara. They are all fallen. The progeny is degraded. So Chanakya Pandit mentions women are always to be protected at the early stage by the parents, at the young stage by the husband, and at the later stage by the children. So women have always to be protected. Otherwise there will be unwanted progeny. And what will happen if there is unwanted progeny? There will be wars and pestilence, which means there will be a lot of diseases because of this. We see all these pandemics and epidemics and all those diseases. These are because people are not following the Varnashram Dharma. They are Varna Sankara. And then the life will be hellish for everyone. And then the whole family, the ancestors fall down because the Shraddha and the Pinda ceremonies are not being performed. So the entire family, forefathers, traditions will go down and the culture will be destroyed. And this is the symptom of Kali Yuga. Manda samanda matayo manda bhagya hi upadruta. Prana alpa ayusha sabya kalavasmin yuge jana manda samanda matayo manda bhagya hi upadruta. This is at the beginning, it is mentioned the symptoms of Kali Yuga. What is going to happen? People are unlucky, misguided, short-lived, and they are above all disturbed. So the culture is destroyed. So these are all the reasons Arjuna gives, and which were valid reasons. This is we are hearing this Arjuna mentioning all this at the junction when Dwapar Yuga is about to finish and Kali Yuga is about to begin. After Krishna left the planet, it is mentioned in Bhagavatam, Kali Yuga begins. And we heard in the first canto, 17, 18, 19 chapter, how Kali Yuga enters. As soon as Pandavas depart, the symptoms of Kali Yuga are manifesting. And Parikshit Maharaj faces Kali. So this is the junction when Kali Yuga is about to begin. And Arjuna is already saying these are the reasons he did not want to fight, because in future people will be fallen because of not following the samskaras. And we see, are these samskaras important? Has anyone gone through all the samskaras during birth? I'll quickly go through some of the samskaras and we'll come back here. So out of 16 samskaras, 3 samskaras are to be performed even before the child is born. The first one is Garbhadan samskara. Even the child knows here that the first one to be performed is Garbhadan samskara. And it is mentioned this is one of the very important samskaras. Why is it important? Because it invokes the pious soul within the womb. So it is very important that Garbhadan samskara is performed. Any reference from the Shastras where Garbhadan samskara was not performed appropriately. What is Garbhadan samskara, by the way? So both the husband and wife, first of all, they perform purificatory processes. They chant 50, in ISKCON we recommend chanting of 50 rounds, and then make the environment auspicious, and then invite the devotees for prasadam. And it's like invoking auspiciousness before one procreates. So by this, they invoke a pious soul. The consciousness of the husband and wife is devotional, spiritual. They are thinking about Krishna while conception. So they invoke the pious soul who is a devotee. And there are references in Bhagavatam where this samskara was not performed properly. Yeah, Kashyapa Muni and Diti. So in which canto do they come in? Third canto. So in third canto there are 2 couples mentioned. One is what not to do for Grahastha and what to be done for Grahastha. So what not to be done, example is Kashyapa Muni and Diti. And what is to be done is Kardama Muni and Devahuti. So what did Kashyapa and Diti do? They associated at the inappropriate time. When Lord Shiva, it's a time for Sandhya, when Lord Shiva is passing, and along with Lord Shiva is auspicious. But along with Lord Shiva, there are all these bhutas who also associate with him. So that is inauspicious. So Kashyapa warned Diti, this is not an auspicious time. But the Diti was so much wanting to have association that she ignored the instruction of Kashyapa. And Kashyapa also gave up. And then what happened? Because of that, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, one of the biggest demons that the history has ever known, were born. So, but again, because Kashyapa Muni was a great devotee, he said that the son of Hiranyakashipu would be a devotee. Who was the son of Hiranyakashipu? Prahlad Maharaj. And what happened at the time of Prahlad Maharaj's birth? Yeah, the demigods kidnapped Kayadu, was wife of Hiranyakashipu. But then Narad Muni said, don't worry, the womb, the child within the womb is a devotee. So Narad Muni took Kayadu and then he was speaking Śrīmad Bhāgavatam to Kayadu, and then Prahlad Maharaj within the womb was hearing. But again we heard at the time of Garbhadan Samskara, the consciousness of the husband and wife has to be appropriate. Then what made Prahlad Maharaj to take birth through Hiranyakashipu, who is one of the biggest demons? So the story comes, mentioned is that while Hiranyakashipu was performing austerities, there was a parrot, Sukha, and he was chanting the names of Krishna continuously. And then it disturbed the mind of Hiranyakashipu, because he was not allowing him to perform tapasya in the secluded place. And he could hear the names of Krishna constantly. So then he got disturbed and went to his palace and had the conception with Kayadu. But in his mind he was thinking about these parrots chanting the holy names of the Lord. So that brought Prahlad Maharaj. So this is Garbhadam Sanskara. When the person is thinking about the Lord while indulged in procreation, then a devotee or a pious soul is invoked within the womb of a mother. And that is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that of the sex, if it's performed properly, I am that. So if one performs the Garbhadan Samskara, anyways, we are going through the list of samskara. So first one is Garbhadan Samskara, which is very important. Then comes Pumsavan Samskara, which is again another samskara which is performed at 3rd month, which invokes auspiciousness, longevity for the child. And then there is Simanta, Simanta Samskara, where again it is performed for, and at that point the child becomes conscious. It is performed at the 5th or 7th month. At that point the child becomes conscious, and then that samskara invokes longevity and health for the child. So these are the 3 samskaras which are performed even before the child is born. And then we are hearing here, as soon as the child is born, there is Jatakarma. Jatakarma samskara, as soon as the child is born. And why is it necessary to perform Jatakarma? Because if there is some inauspicious, at the time of Jatakarma, the priest is called, and the priest will look at the birth, time, place of the child, gotra of the child, and prepare astrological chart. And based on the chart, he can say what was the child in the previous life and what is he going to be now. Any examples from Bhagavatam where this is coming? Where the priest, sorry? Jorsa. Garga Muni, yes. So Vasudev knew. So Jatakarma and Namakarana are generally performed together at the birth of the child. So Vasudev knew that Krishna is in Nanda Maharaj's care. So he asked Garga Muni, who was the priest of the Yadu dynasty, to go and meet Nanda Maharaj. So Garga Muni goes to meet Nanda Maharaj, and when Nanda Maharaj sees Garga Muni at that time, he was the topmost in Jyotish Shastra, astrological knowledge. He is considered to be the topmost. So Nanda Maharaj, as soon as he sees Garga Muni coming, he invites him, welcomes him, glorifies him, and asks him, can you please do the ceremony, Jatakarma ceremony for my 2 children who have just born? And Garga Muni says, I am the priest of Yadu dynasty. And if Kamsa comes to know that I have performed Jatakarma ceremony for these 2 children, he will know that these 2 are the sons of Vasudeva. So I don't want to do this. But because it's like if some really elevated sannyasi comes, everyone wants to do all these ceremonies through him, right? So now Garga Muni has come and Nanda Maharaj did not want to lose that opportunity. So insisted, please don't worry, we will keep it a secret. We'll do it in the Goshala, we will not invite anyone, and you just please do this ceremony for my 2 sons. Because if a elevated person does all these samskaras for a child, Namakarana and Jatakarma, then automatically that brings auspiciousness for the child. So that is why many a times the devotee children, they ask their spiritual master or some elevated sannyasi or a Maharaj to give the name for the child. Because it automatically, they are initiated right from the, it's not called initiation, but still there is auspiciousness for the child right from the beginning when some great devotee gives the name, Namakarana or Jatakarma ceremony. So Nanda Maharaj told Garga Muni, you please do it. We will keep it a secret. We will not announce, no relatives will come. It will be just us. And then Garga Muni agreed. Okay, so in the Goshala, the place was arranged and Yagna was arranged, and then Garga Muni is preparing these charts for whom? Balram and Krishna. So now he's looking at Balram's chart and he's saying, this child will be very strong. He'll be strong like the mountain. So he'll be very strong. So his name is Bala. And he will give pleasure to everyone who approaches him. So his name is Rama also. And he is the child who will join 2 dynasties. Now Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva were brothers, but one was a Kshatriya and the other one was a Vaishya. And they were had Vaishya and Kshatriya wives as well. So they were 2 different dynasties. So he will join them. So is a connection between them. So he will be also called Sankarshana. So he gave 3 names for Lord Balram. One was Bala, Rama and Sankarshana. And then he prepared the chart for Krishna. And again, when he prepared the chart for Krishna, he said, this person has appeared many times before in different colors, but now he has appeared as black, so blackish. So Krishna also means blackish. So his name is Krishna. And then he is also sometimes will be called, and he mentions, he does not say directly, but he says in some previous life he was the son of Vasudeva, so he will also be called Vasudeva. So he indirectly mentions this. He does not directly, because otherwise everyone will know he is Vasudeva, so Vasudeva's son. So he indirectly mentions in some previous life he was son of Vasudeva. So he gives different names. And it's interesting that when Krishna takes birth, what does he do? All the constellations, all the nakshatras, they align themselves. Is there a need for Krishna to do that? No. Or actually Krishna does not do it. Automatically the nakshatras align themselves so that it becomes the most auspicious time when Krishna is taking birth. So all these samskaras, astrological charts, the Jatakarma ceremony, Namakarana ceremony, it's not just mythological as people say. It's all old things. Who believes in them? It does not affect. How can something affect? No, these all things affect. Even the name which you give to the child, if it is not based on the astrological, because when you do the astrological charts, you get the letters from which the name is to be given. Yeah. So if that name is not given appropriately, that it can create problem in the life of a person. So these all samskaras have to be performed as per the shastras, because this is all science. Vedas is not like hypothetical or mythological. Or somebody just did not have anything to do. Vyasdeva was sitting in the cave and nothing to do, so he just wrote something. No. This is science, which is the manual for how to live in the material world. So these are very important. Samskaras, it is very important that the samskaras have to be performed. And then there is nishkrama. So when the first time the child goes out, that samskara is nishkrama. These days, as soon as the child is born, I know someone, like throughout the pregnancy, this Mataji, I wouldn't say Mataji, but this person was so much addicted to watching movies that throughout her pregnancy she went to watch movies. And even the child was born, and child would always keep crying. But as soon as the movie started, he will become quiet for 2-3 hours. So as soon as the child was born, within a week, they used to go to the theater, and the child would not speak a word in the theater. Imagine a few days old child or a week's old child not uttering a word when the movie is on. But as soon as they come out of the theater, he starts crying. So this is the consciousness of... So this karmas, if samskaras are not performed properly, it can have ill effect also. So it is mentioned that at the time of birth, and the other example is of Abhimanyu, right? Abhimanyu heard the entire warfare in the womb of the mother. Prahlad Maharaj, entire Śrīmad Bhāgavatam he heard within the womb of the mother. As soon as he was born, he was already Bhaktivedanta. Bhakti Sastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhaktivedanta already finished within the womb. So this is right from the womb of the mother, the spiritual life starts for the... It's interesting, somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, is it like when should we start teaching, giving spiritual knowledge to the child? And Srila Prabhupada asked, how old is your child? He said, 5 years. Said, you already lost 5 years. So the spiritual education should be started even before the child is conceived. What to speak of born. So even before, so Garbhadan samskara has been given very much of importance in the samskaras. Then there is, where were we? Jatakarma, Nishkarma, first time outing. And then the 7th one is Annaprasanna, when the first time food grains are given to the child. And that should be done only after like 7, 9 or 1 year. It should not be done before. And one should be fed only rice and ghee, which is offered to the Lord before. So nothing other than that. So there is Anprasanna, and it has to be fed by some great devotee. Again, all the samskara, if performed by senior devotee, it has got much more effect. And then there is Chadu karma, which is shaving of the head. So this is also mentioned that one has to do it at the age of 1 year or 3 years or 5 years. So one has to shave the head. Karnaveda. Karnaveda is also mentioned. For the boy it is right ear, and for the girl it is left ear. Piercing of the ear. And this is also, these are all samskaras which are, it increases the longevity of a person, it gives spiritual life, it helps in spiritual life. So these are all the Vedas. And then there are educational samskaras, Vidyarambha. So the first time the boy is writing a letter, alphabet, that is also a process. So Vidyarambha, when starts the education. And then Upanayan samskara is when he is initiated. Even in South India, even today, it's a big ceremony. It's like second birth for a child, Upanayan samskara. It's the sacred thread is given. Janoi is given to the child, usually done at the age of 8 years. And then there is Vedharambha. So first was Vidyarambha, where the alphabet letters are started. And this is Vedharambha. Vedharambha is when the child is given knowledge of the Vedas. All the Smriti and Shastras are taught. And then Keshanta, shaving of the beard. And Samvartan, where he finishes his studies. At that point, he leaves the Gurukul and comes to the home. These days we don't have Gurukuls, but yeah. So this is Samarthan, where the education is finished. And then comes Vivaha. Vivaha samskara means marriage. And then after Vivaha there are no samskaras except for death. Antayeshti. So there is the last 16th samskara where a person dies. So we see these samskaras were performed by Yudhishthira Maharaj also. He called all the Brahmanas and performed samskara for Parikshit Maharaj. He asked, what will the Parikshit Maharaj be? What will be the future of Parikshit Maharaj? And the Brahmanas predicted, gave all the prediction. He will be as good as the Pandavas. He will be very religious. He will be the devotee of the Lord. And he will rule ritualistically. So Dhaumya Rishi and Kripacharya, it is mentioned in Bhagavatam that they performed this samskaras for Jatakarma and Namakarana samskaras for Parikshit Maharaj. Even Prithu Maharaj, when he was born. So how was Prithu Maharaj born? Anyone knows? Yeah. So Vena was a very sinful person. And then the Brahmanas had to kill him by chanting the mantras. And at that point, the Brahmanas churned the thighs first. And from the thighs came Nishad Raj. And they were like the low class people. And then Brahmanas had to say, no, you all don't worry, you just go and do your tapasya. And then they churned the arms. And from that, Prithu Maharaj and Archi were born. And they were the incarnations of the Lord. And at that point, even though Prithu Maharaj was born as the adult, but still the Brahmanas did the Jatakarma ceremony. So what was that Jatakarma? They told the whole life of Prithu Maharaj. What will he do? All the pastimes that he will perform were told by the Brahmanas. So what is Prithu Maharaj going to be? So as soon as the child is born, this samskara has to be performed. And we know if the samskara, again another example, in this canto itself there was one. If the samskaras are not performed properly, what will happen? Anyone knows? Yeah, what pastime is that? Maharaj Gadi. His daughter was Satyavati and married to Ruchika Muni. So Ruchika Muni performed the yagna for a son. And Maharaj Gadi's wife also did not have a son. So she also approached Ruchika Muni that I also want. So he performed 2 oblations for the son. One he gave it to his wife Satyavati and one to his mother-in-law. But the mother-in-law thought the oblation prepared for the wife would be better, so that the son would be pious or more rich or healthy or whatever. So it will be better son. So let me exchange. So he convinced Satyavati to exchange the oblations. And when Ruchika Muni found about this, he was very angry. He said, I prepared one oblation for a Kshatriya son to be born and the other oblation for a Brahmana son to be born. Now that you have exchanged, your son will be Kshatriya nature and very fearsome. So it is not suitable for a Brahmana to have such a son. So Satyavati pleaded that please do something. We don't want a son who will kill everyone. So Ruchika Muni said, okay, no problem, I'll just postpone by one more generation. So your son will be the Brahmana, but the son of that Brahmana will be fearsome, Kshatriya. And who was the son? Jamadagni. Son was Jamadagni and his son was Parshuram, Lord Parshuram. And who was the other? Anyone knows? Who was the son of Satyavati, mother-in-law's son? Who took the oblations of a Brahmana? Anyone knows that? So Parshuram was born because of the oblation of a Kshatriya, and who was born because of the oblations of the Brahmanas that was taken by the mother-in-law? Vishwamitra. So Vishwamitra was born. He was born in a Kshatriya family, but later he became a sage because that was oblation for the Brahmana. So this all pastimes show how if all these rituals, samskaras are performed, can give birth to a good progeny, or if not performed properly, they can give birth to inappropriate progeny. So that is why there is an importance for all these samskaras in the life of a person. One should not ignore them. If they have been ignored, it creates, as Arjuna is mentioning, it creates destruction of the dynasty. Culture is lost. People become degraded. Any questions, comments? I'll stop here. We've got 5 minutes. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, you were talking about the sanskaras and if they're not performed correctly, what are the consequences? But I see my friends that are non-Indian and they're not devotees, and obviously they probably did not do any of the samskaras at the time of birth, but still they're very pure from heart. Even though they eat everything, they have that sense of compassion for others, and so then the question comes, sometimes we ask ourselves, do these samskaras have effect on us, or are they just for the sake of doing? So how can we
Yeah, so if the samskaras are not performed because of some previous karma, the person born may be pious. So it is mentioned, even if one has got all the good qualities, if he is not a devotee of the Lord, it is useless. But if a devotee of the Lord, even though he has all the bad qualities, but if he is a devotee of the Lord, it is better. What is the verse? Anyone remembers that verse? Yashasti bhaktir bhagvat akinchana sarva gunas tatra samasate suraha harava bhaktasya kutho mahat guna. Last line. Manorathena sati dhavato bahi. So even if a person is having all the good qualities of a sura, demigod, but if he is not a devotee, he is just manorathena dhavato bahi, externally he might look good, but at the end, what is his destination? He is going to be in the cycle of birth and death. So that is why in Nectar of Devotion, there is a category of sinful reaction. And that sinful reaction is both pious and impious. They both come under papam. They're both sinful. Even if you are good, but if you are not a devotee, it's still sinful because it keeps you bound into the cycle of birth and death. You'll again come back as a human if you are good in material, you're doing good for the society. It's not that we shouldn't do good for the society or we shouldn't be good, but at the same time, if you are not a devotee, then you will come back again into this material world. But you will be in the cycle of birth and death. So this is one of the reasons. For a devotee, there is another question which comes. When Caitanya Mahaprabhu is born, what happens? There is an eclipse going on, which is inauspicious. When Krishna was born, automatically the constellation, everything came into the proper position. But when Caitanya Mahaprabhu was born, it is eclipse, which is inauspicious time. Then why did Caitanya Mahaprabhu take birth at the inauspicious time? Sorry? To inaugurate the holy name, because at that inauspicious time, all the Brahmanas were in the Ganges chanting the names of Lord Hari, Hari, Hari. Everybody was shouting Lord Hari. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to make this point, even if everything is inauspicious, but if one is chanting the holy names of Lord Hari, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If the holy names are chanted, then everything becomes auspicious. That's the most auspicious thing. So, again, answering to your question, that if one is a devotee, then all the good qualities of the demigods manifest within him. But if one is not a devotee and has all the good qualities, is no use. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Yes.
Thank you. We see that Prabhupada went to US and out of hippies, many went on to become, very good disciple and the spiritual master. They picked up quite fast, but there won't have been any garbhadhan samskara and etc. So how come their parents begot such a good children?
Yeah, this can be understood in two ways. First of all, when Krishna appears, when Lord Brahma goes, we hear this in the first chapter of 10th canto, Lord Brahma goes to meet Lord Vishnu and says, this asuras are very powerful, have become very powerful, so do something about it. And Krishna asks all the demigods to take birth in the families, all these families, and he will appear. So, when the Lord appears or his devotee appears for something which is going to be a major event, it is mentioned Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishna Sango Upasanga Astra Parshadam. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, all the Sangha, all his associates, Upasanga, all his servants, Astra, all his weapons, Parshadam, all his confidential companions, they all appeared with him. In different ways they came. In different families they came. So when Srila Prabhupada appeared, and it is the moment where it is already mentioned in different places that Srila Prabhupada will appear and there will be a revolution. There will be the holy name of the Lord will be chanted in all the places, town and villages. So when Srila Prabhupada appeared, many of these personalities, they appeared in different families. So they are not ordinary personalities in many ways. Because we all know just to give one book or to convince a person against his will, how difficult it is. It's not easy. But when Srila Prabhupada went and spoke or he just did kirtan, all these personalities joined in. And so it's an arrangement, one level. And Prabhupada himself mentioned, my Guru Maharaj has sent you all to help me spread this movement. So on one level, yes, this is not ordinary arrangement. It is divine arrangement, how all these personalities came to assist Srila Prabhupada in the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spreading of the holy name. So this is one. And second, it shows the power of the holy name when chanted by the pure devotee. Preaching is the essence, purity is the force, books are the basis, utility is the principle. Srila Prabhupada mentioned this, right? Purity is the force. When Srila Prabhupada was chanting in Tompkins Square Park, just on this bongo, it's called, right? Chanting on the bongo, he did not have kartal, mridanga, all those harmonium or anything, but just on those bongo he was chanting Hare Krishna mantra. And just by that hearing, all the people become purified. Those who came in touch with Srila Prabhupada became purified. So this is the power of the purity of Srila Prabhupada. That he could convert the heart of anyone. He could touch the heart of anyone. He could instill Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says, originally everyone is Krishna conscious. But it just has to be brought out. So Srila Prabhupada had that power to touch the heart of a person and bring out Krishna from that, make him realize that he is Krishna conscious. And people just gave in everything. It's so difficult to what Srila Prabhupada's disciples did for Srila Prabhupada, we can't even imagine. While traveling from Bombay to Delhi or Mathura, Srila Prabhupada asked two of his disciples to get down at Surat station and start a temple. With no money, nothing, no instruction, and these were Western devotees, right? He just said, get off. The train stopped at one of the stations. He said, two disciples, get off and start a temple here. Imagine if we have to do something like this drastic change. One of the, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he said, go to China. With no address, nothing. You just go to China and open the preach. There were so many devotees who were sent to Russia. Communist country, if you have found that you are a devotee, they would kill you. And many, we know from salted bread, devotees were killed there. So what Srila Prabhupada did is unimaginable. It's not possible for today. I mean, it's possible for a pure devotee, but yes, it's not ordinary what Srila Prabhupada did. Yeah. So sometimes it's not samskaras, sometimes it's intervention of a devotee or the Lord Himself, which makes things manifest.
Yeah. And that's why I said that Harinam Sankirtan is so powerful because it plants the seed of
it's a
Krishna
Yuga Dharma
Prem.
for this age.
Yeah, so help overcome demonic qualities one has acquired. Nice. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Granthra Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum